riled up thunderstruck. Have become SOP. Warriors in the profession of arms. Others chose to be doctors and lawyers and other honorable professions. You chose to be leaders. Leaders of men, leaders of our best men and women. It's an honor to stand today among as well. Thank you for being here, sir. This is your district also. And just amongst senior leaders, so many accomplished warriors, so many people who have given so much to this great nation. As was mentioned, the Army War College is one of the vital military institutions helping our leaders at the strategic level. I want to thank everyone here that's a part, and the staff support. Carlisle without all of you. Are soon looking out to your next assignments. Congratulations. I'm here today to mark the first and share what we have accomplished so far at Trump called me to take this job. He told me two things. The first was, Pete, you're going to have to be tough as shit. Boy, he was not kidding on that one. This job requires a steel spine, and that's fine. We're doing the work of the American people and the American warfighter. But second, the president said to me, I want you to restore the warrior ethos of our military. Full stop. And so that is exactly what I have set about to do all 100 days. Fighting for you is the privilege of a lifetime, a deployment of a lifetime. And from day one, and each 100 of those days, our overriding objectives have been clear. Restoring the warrior ethos, rebuilding our military, and reestablishing deterrence. Restoring the warrior ethos is the most fundamental of those three. Everything starts and ends with warriors in training and on the battlefield. We are leaving wokeness and weakness behind and refocusing on lethality, meritocracy, accountability, standards, and readiness. One of the early actions we did was to commission a review of military standards, training standards, physical standards, gender-neutral standards for combat roles. To be the world's most lethal and effective fighting force, you have to set and maintain high standards for our men and women in uniform. High, equal, and unwavering. To be lethal, you have to trust that the warrior alongside you in battle, or the troops fighting in the unit that many of you will lead, are capable, truly physically capable of doing what is necessary under fire. They need to be fit, not fat. Sharp, not shabby. Especially our leaders. And that's why we're reviewing how the department has maintained standards in the past, especially the last 4 years, and whether those standards have dropped, formally or informally. We're also welcoming back former service members who were wrongly forced to leave the military. More than 8,700 service members were involuntarily separated for not taking an experimental COVID-19 vaccine. Others were more informally pushed out or decided to get out. We are welcoming actively back those warriors of conscience. We've sent letters out. We're seeking them out. We want them back. They never should have been forced to come back quickly. Personnel and Readiness Department is working in real time to make that process more and more efficient, more and more direct every single day. And as we welcome those warriors back, we've said goodbye to the harmful effects, culture, and inclusion programs. We're AI content, eliminating quotas, and promotions are based on performance, not immutable characteristics. DE at DOD. Based individual initiative, excellence, and hard work. We're also working hard to protect command climate. We're going to be reviewing IG and EO processes that too often are weaponized against commanders in formations. I can't tell you how many men and women I hear from about to take battalion or brigade leadership or wing leadership, you name it, who feel like they're walking eggshells because of were put in place that undermine a commander's ability to lead. We are reviewing that all. We're also optimizing the civilian workforce, ensuring that we have the right employees in the right roles at the right time to support our warfighters. We're doing this by volunteer possible through offerings like voluntary initiatives. We're doing this by volunteer possible through offerings like voluntary initiatives. Also, low productivity telework and remote work culture. Teams work best when they work together in person. Butts in seats, not on Zoom. We're making accountability and high performance the watchwords for the department. At all levels, we expect employees to deliver results and respond to leadership needs. Their incentives and their performance plans, we believe, quickly and in real time will reflect that. It's a lot of change very quickly. Now, as you may have noticed, the media likes to call it chaos. We call it overdue. How are the men and women responding to this call? Well, I can tell you personally, it's going better than we could have ever expected. This department, and you know it, across the Joint Force, is filled with patriots who want nothing more than to be laser focused on serving their country. And that's why retention is rebounding as well, big time, in real time. But one of the clearest metrics so far is actually coming from outside the military. The enthusiasm of young Americans in particular is off the charts. You know firsthand how challenging it has been to recruit in recent years. Faced a legitimate recruiting crisis where we couldn't recruit enough men and women to enter the military, so we lowered the amount required and still didn't meet the amount of people required in recruitment. That's over. Last few months, the Army has had its best recruiting numbers since 2010. The Navy is on track to have its best recruiting year since 2002. It's recruiting born. Many members of my staff that get referred to me of people who ruled out in President his leadership, enthusiastic about going to boot camp or OCS and serving their nation. The other branches are on track to well exceed their targets as well. It is a recruiting renaissance in America of America's best and brightest. When our standards are high, when the mission is clear, when we prioritize warfighting over wokeness, that energizes the young men and women of our country, the very patriots over this American experiment we have always needed. They're proud of their country. They're proud of our military. And like generations before them, they will rise to the challenge set before us. As leaders, all of us, all we have to do is keep raising the bar and putting the mission and our people first. That's reviving the warrior ethos. Second objective is rebuilding. You've all served long enough to see the downward trajectory of readiness in our force. And that well underway just 100 days in. He has declared and delivered on building our military. Our goal is to put the best systems in the hands of warfighters to ensure minimum lethality. You should never be in a fair fight. That's our job. First, we are rapidly moving on one of President's promises, which is a golden dome for a wide to protect Americans from the threat of nuclear, hypersonic, and conventional weapons here in our homeland. Another incredibly exciting program is the newly announced and further who benefit from the projection of power now. Allies, we're not going anywhere. And to our enemies, able to project power around the globe for decades to come. These investments are not just in Golden Dome and F-47. Historic investments in the border, hypersonics, in long-range drones, in shipbuilding, in modernization, you name it. Any time while our citizens will be protected from the worst that our enemies could possibly throw at us, defending the homeland. Just these marquee programs. We've been assessing the department from top to bottom to ensure that we're sounds wonky, but it's very important. Forcing the software acquisition pathway as our preferred model. We have and when we need it. And just this week, we major President Trump outlined in his executive order on defense acquisition the last 4 years. Munitions war room and expand critical mineral production, including rare earth elements, heavy rare earth elements, light rare earth elements, all the things we need that need to be made at home or by our allies and partners. And President Trump has created a building, not at the department, but in the White House, to restore our maritime industrial base. Military more efficient. Meeting the warfighter's needs in the most cost-effective manner and reallocating savings to our most mission-critical areas. That's why we went through an exercise of finding 8% reductions across services. Of course, the media ran with it and called them cuts. No, this is how you plan and prioritize, is you look where you can do more with less, and you shift out old priorities and move in new. Maximum efficiency, focusing on what you need now and in the future. Through our partnership with the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, earlier this month we identified $5.1 billion in savings, and that's just the beginning. We're ending contracts for business process consulting, enterprise cloud IT services, and duplicative IT services. Massive contracts that no one ever looks at, where people push a lot of paper and make a lot of PowerPoints and give a lot of consulting. Fighters. See, we can use that money for better health and mission-critical programs, from process to people, from consultants to corporals. The bottom line is force for the challenge. We're prioritizing what works and cutting what does not. And yes, as the President announced from the Oval Office. What's the reason that the previous administration left? COCOM commanders at the tip of the spear to understand and delivering it. Have the most advanced weapons point, which leads to our third, reestablishing deterrence. After 4 years of deferred maintenance under the Biden. Most importantly, and you saw it from Chiefs, Raising Cane, our borders first. After decades of securing other people's borders in far-off places, ours. After a reckless invasion of over 20 million people, and we have no idea the end. They urged posture, update our military plan at DoD to protect cartels, drugs, violence, death. Under the Trump administration, it ends. Under this Defense Department, we get 100% operational control of our. We started one, we'll continue through. $97 border crossings compared to the same period in 2024. Monthly encounters dropped from 250,000 encounters, most of which are false asylum claims. You also have the known gotaways and the unknown gotaways, so it's much higher than 250,000. You don't know where most of these people are coming from. Now to the trickle of a few thousands, most of which we're interdicting and engaging because of our force posture on the border in real time. It starts with people, it moves to infrastructure and surveillance. And our American troops, you should see their morale on the border. It's incredible when you're defending your own homeland with robust and sufficient assets and you are able to interdict, changes the whole game. We just designated a trial area for a new national defense area where our troops now, instead of just looking at the border with binoculars and wondering who that person is and hoping CBP interdicts them, can now temporarily take action to temporarily detain those folks and hand them over to CBP because of that authorized zone. It's a sea change from the open season that was the previous administration. But not just here at home. In 3 of the most strategically important regions in the world, we are increasing allied burden sharing while we increase deterrence. America first doesn't mean America alone. It means we expect our allies to step up, to be true force multipliers for freedom. This approach ensures we achieve peace through strength. First, in Europe, our allies are finally, thanks to President Trump in the first administration, and again in these first 100 days, following America's call for European leadership and ownership of continental security. We've transferred U.S. leadership of the Ukraine Defense Contact Group to the UK and to Germany. We've obtained commitments from Poland, one of many model allies, the Baltics, to spend 5% of their GDP on defense. we've made the same call to other allies. 2% is not enough considering the threats you face. 3%, 4%, 5%. Progress with major European powers who are setting initial targets, even to one I spoke to just this morning, to increase their defense spending. The time of the United States, here in Pennsylvania, here in our country, being the sole guarantor of European security has passed. It's long overdue. Europe has to step up military and lead. NATO. In the Middle East, we're pursuing stability and deterrence to the threats that exist there. President Trump has made it clear that America is fully committed to the security of our great allies in Israel. Just days after his inauguration, the DOD blocked the defense. Israel's self-reliance and pursue President Trump's goal of a strength. In Yemen, the Defense Department is executing lethal operations against Houthi terrorists. Our forces have struck hundreds of targets and decimated Houthi leadership, substantially reducing their capabilities and the threat to U.S. ships in the Red Sea and across and through the BAM. We have demonstrated America's commitment to defending our interests and restoring freedom of navigation, which we will do and are doing. This is a clear, limited mission executed with ruthlessness. Full stop. We will run our ships through that BAM. And our message to the Houthis has been clear from the beginning. Allow us to sail our and we'll stop shooting at you. Until then, you're going to feel the pain. And I'll tell you, the Houthis are feeling the pain. We have demonstrated any aggression against Americans will be met with decisive action, unlike what that region saw under the Biden administration. But this is not nation building. This is not land wars. This is not endless wars. This is not regime change. This is clear-eyed American national interests, decisively and overwhelmingly. Third, and most importantly, we are deterring communist China in the Indo-Pacific and around the world. To deliver peace in this region, we're delivering a more forward regional force posture. We're supporting allies and partners. Allies and partners are our force multipliers as they strengthen their own capabilities, including in Taiwan. We're also connecting U.S. allies and partners to and more resilient. And there will be a lot more of it. In fact, in March, I took my first trip to the Indo-Pacific as secretary. The first trip to Guam in 20 years from a defense secretary. I traveled to the Philippines to meet with President Marcos and his Secretary of National Defense. We reaffirmed the long-standing strength of the U.S.-Philippines alliance, a key piece in our strategy to deter and counter the communist Chinese. We also traveled to Japan on that same trip, and later on a trip that a few of you may have seen to Panama. At each stop, we announced new bilateral exercises, increased cooperation, foreign military sales deals, commitment to President Trump's vision of peace through strength. In the Philippines, we are deploying more advanced capabilities, including Nemesis anti-ship missiles. In Japan, we announced Phase 1 of upgrading U.S. Forces Japan into a full-blown Joint Forces headquarters. In Panama, we secured a framework for first of Panama Canal passage for U.S. military vessels and auxiliary vessels, as well as the additional presence of U.S. troops stationed through both sides of the Panama Canal. As I said then, and I will reaffirm today, the President pledged to take back the Panama Canal from Chinese influence And with our partners, we're doing just that, right in our own backyard. At every step, we are carrying out our strategy to increase against before. In these places, when you meet with leaders who want to be with America, who believe in what America can do, have watched us when we're strong, they're making, in many cases and in many places, a binary choice. It is either by, with, and through the Americans or with the Communist Chinese. In the Indo-Pacific, around the world, but specifically in the Indo-Pacific and in our hemisphere, you can see it. You can see it in the eyes of allies and partners. You can see it in the influence underneath the surface. They want to be with us, but they need to see strength. And they need to see leadership. And that's what President Trump has provided in spades. Not just in words, but in deeds, in action, and so as Europe shoulders more of the burden in continental security, that frees up resources for us to focus on countering the malign influence of the Communist Chinese where it matters most. Under the leadership of President Trump, the message to our adversaries in these first 100 has been undeniably clear. America is back. At the Defense Department, that means no more distractions. No more social engineering. No more climate change worship. No more electric tanks. No more gender confusion. No more pronouns. No more excuses. No more quotas. No more woke bullshit that undermines commanders and command climates. We are laser focused on our mission of warfighting. We are colorblind and we are merit-based. We're restoring the warrior ethos, rebuilding the military, and reestablishing deterrence. End, full stop. Enemy aggression will be met swiftly and harshly. We're beginning a new golden age of America and a golden age of national defense. We have a bumper crop of new recruits, new planes, new missile defense systems on the way, allies increasing their defense spending, and adversaries on their heels. Today, on this beautiful day, we have a brand new class, soon to be, Army War College students about to graduate. You, all of you, are the future of our military. You will lead these new recruits, eager, optimistic, young, ready, and soon to be trained. They will look to you. You will lead the brigades, the ships, the groups. You will execute our tactical, operational, and strategic objectives all around the globe. You will set the standard. We're counting on you. And I know that you will deliver at each and every step with distinction. God bless you. Godspeed to all of our warriors, and thank you for having me today. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Secretary Hegseth, this morning for community and sense of 35 years of service to our nation, that at the heart of the warrior ethos are disciplined, fit, and confident soldiers. We've been investing for most of this past year in the intellectual fitness of the leaders that are on the field here with you today, but we're gonna take a step away from that for the next several days and engage on the fields of friendly strife and demonstrate some physical fitness. There's still, I've been told, some open spots on our teams here.
What
Softball,
teams?
soccer, functional fitness, running, pickleball, shooter's choice, sir. But
I got a good lefty swing. I'll maybe join the softball team.
well, then you'll be in uniform with this, sir. We want to present that to you, and thank you for your time.
Well, I appreciate it. Very good. Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
Appreciate you, sir. Thank you. Thank you all. Appreciate it.